So I thought I'd do a video talking about body modification, plastic surgery, and basically people who do body modifications, and just talk about that just from my own perception of it. I've not had anything done myself, don't have any piercings, don't have any tattoos, don't have anything like that. I've always wanted to I might get a piercing at some point actually. To be fair, I might probably even do that. I've always wanted to get my nose done, so I might do that at some point. But anyway, that's not the point of this video also. So I don't know, this is a strange one to talk about really. Seeing as though, I used to buy a Bazaar magazine quite a lot. So I'm interested in that culture, old culture, subculture. I've never really, I've always been a bit on the outskirts of it, even though I'm an outsider, I'm a mentally ill artist, tech face, like hacking scenes, music, electronic music, all that sort of thing. Coding, all the rest of it. But I've always been, I know metal as well, featuring punk rock scene. But yeah, I've just never had like tattoos though or anything. But yeah, anyway, this is a bit more boring start to the video. I don't want to talk about me that much really. So I'll try and talk about this in 3 stages. So tattoos, I think, can be deeply emblematic for people and have a deep level of meaning, which I think is the best way if you're going to do tattoos to wear them, to be honest, is to have each one have a specific meaning to you. I did design one ages ago. It was like an Ouroboros of a pie symbol in the middle, which was going to have there. It was going to represent the cyclical nature of time, basically, and how, snake eating its own tail, the Ouroboros. Represents eternity, basically. What I feel about plastic surgery, though, just to get something a bit more controversial. Well, speaking as a man, I don't find it that appealing to see a woman with puffed up lips. I actually had an ex who did that, and I was just like, what are you doing to yourself? You look ridiculous. But then I've got a weird relationship, sexual wise with that, because sometimes I do like that extremely, sort of slutty look, but then there is a sort of limit to that, right? Where it just looks unnatural and, a woman looks cracked, basically. She looks cracked to a certain point when, got all the puffed up lips, and it fucking destroys your lips, basically, if you do it enough. Botox and all that just gives a face a plastic look. Obviously, if someone wants to do it to themselves and they're free to, I don't have a problem with anybody doing it. It's everyone's just a free will at the end of the day. But I just think, why would you inject fucking poison into your head or into your lips? And it kills the expressiveness of the face. I'm an artist, so I draw a lot of faces. It's what I'm very drawn to. I just cannot understand why anybody would destroy their own face, their own individual face, their own characteristic, character of their face. And everyone's face has a character, right? Because it's literally your, it's what you present to the world, right? It's what's that quote? Something like, a man has a face. I can't remember. It's sort of like, man has a face he deserves when he. I can't remember. It's sort of about man has a face he deserves when he's 40 or something. It's a good quote, actually. I'm ashamed a bit sad to forget that. But basically, it's something to do with your face is sort of stuck, right? And you can't really do much about how it looks. Like I can be a bit self-conscious of mine sometimes. Like obviously when I'm doing this video, sometimes I'm actually staring into the camera. Oftentimes not, because I'm trying to think, right? I'm trying to get the thoughts out of my head, and that I don't do that by looking at myself, because that just makes me feel self-conscious. So yeah, I think plastic. I mean, it's going to be. I mean, it could go into potential Frankenstein areas if you think about like body modification and transhumanism and everything else. Like how, because obviously there is that aspect to it, which is like transformation into something that's beyond human, like post-humanism, transhumanism. Obviously, like wow, I guess trans is a form of transformation as well, right? So it's full body modification, obviously. I think those people get too much flack, really. Obviously, there's a huge culture war going on with it all, and I think it's just. Well, obviously, I'm pro-trans people. I've known a few trans people, so. But I think the body there, in that sense, becomes like a battlefield in some respects. This is like the body of people who are bodies, I should say, of people who are different, are now being used as political pawns in this culture war, and I don't think that's right. But anyway, like I don't know. I mean, it's weird for me to think about this as a guy because I am cis. I'm very comfortable in my body. My body occasionally feels awkward because I'm quite slightly dyspraxic, right? So I bump into a lot of things. My spatial awareness is quite off. I'm constantly banging my head. I'm fairly tall, so I just bang my head into things all the time. Just fall around all the time. Also because the meds I'm on, it sometimes means I knock into stuff as well, so my reaction times get slowed down a bit. But yeah, I think obviously going into like cybernetic, that I could see like that could, like something like Deus Ex, if you think of that, for example, where people actually have like replacement limbs and stuff that then interface, not interface, but can work with the human nervous system. That I think could potentially be an interesting thing in the future if it works, obviously. But then the only thing with technologies like that, I mean, there are some examples of people who've actually done this, where they had like robot arms and stuff. The only thing with something like that is how you need to make sure that it doesn't. There was one case I remember I was reading, seeing a documentary about how someone had an arm graft from a human being, but I think the body started rejecting it after a while. So I don't know. I mean, that's going into medical science, obviously. But yeah, I mean, that could definitely veer into like more Frankenstein science ethics territory, right? I write about a lot of stuff being science fiction, right? I don't really like to call it science fiction, but science fantasy, science dark fantasy, science based literature. I don't really bother that much with the definition, but yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I just basically, I think, I was gonna go into like, so complicated. Like obviously, like the sexual side of things, like going into like the slutty look. Like, I remember when I was growing up, so I'm mostly drawn to like natural looking women who are naturally beautiful, have nice lips, and mousy hair usually. Or I'm not that fussy about hair, obviously. But there is also a flip side to that sexual desire, obviously, because there is this side of me that is likes very trashy women, right? Like in some respects, like very massive tits and plasticky, but not too much. But certain level it can fuck your head too much. Like there's that famous erotic actress Lulu who had the world's biggest breasts for a while. But she had like, they were ridiculous. They were like literally out here, like something like this. They were, but I think she probably had an alright life, but she died years ago. Sorry, but that's just when it gets to things like that, it's like a bit ridiculous, right? And I even saw a documentary about some guy who had the penis enlargement, right? But it was just ridiculous. I mean, it was ridiculously huge. And when it comes to things like that, I just think, yeah, but that's not even going to fit inside. You know, whether it's an ass or a pussy or whatever, like, that's not going to fit inside. It just won't fit in. I mean, you know, there is such a thing as too big in that respect, right? Like, your penis is like literally this. I think it was literally like this. It's what, 18 inches or something. Anyway, on that bombshell, I'll leave this video here. I thought it was interesting. Something interesting was in this video that you could enjoy.